Okay, so
let me ask the obvious question. What are we trying to accomplish here?
Guys, meet Todd. He's the president of Quick Attach, which is a company that specializes in just building heavy-duty tools and attachments for equipment.
Trying to prove that the gearbox is strong enough to incur impacts like this.
This is Shane. He's been an engineer for Quick Attach for over 19 years, and Todd and Shane are discussing why they should smash their brush mower into a giant rock.
How does that make us better than everybody else?
Well, I don't know that it does make us better than everybody else, but it makes us good enough to withstand incidental impacts that you might come across. Surprises in the field, they always happen. It's going to tear up the blades. I mean, this is a given, but at least you're only out a couple $100 on blades or something. So.
Here's the fact, Shane. We know most brush mowers don't have a stump jumper. They have that T-bar, or they have some other mechanism underneath there that isn't strong enough to withstand that. Or the motor with the pressure relief valve to withstand this. So I mean, that's really what we're trying to show here, right?
It's gonna make an awful racket.
It sure is.
all right, where are you guys gonna be?
I'm not anywhere.
Nowhere around here? All right, let me get my safe zone. I'm gonna go over in here.
All right, there's no wasps in here. All right. So the blades on this mower are specifically designed not to break. They're designed to actually twist and bend, but not to shatter, because if those blades shattered, it would send shrapnel flying, could potentially injure people, and actually pretty much destroy your mower. So let's take a closer look at this when he lifts this up, what it looks like.
Bent it, didn't break, that's the point.
Yeah.
The blades are ductile enough to withstand those impacts and not become shrapnel or projectiles. That's why they're tested to that standard.
Look at that. Okay, I think we did end up destroying this one, you guys. Remember last time we tried to do a brush mower video and we said we didn't quite destroy it, and everybody's like, you didn't destroy it. Would you say we destroyed this one, you guys?
Yeah, we wrecked it.
Yeah, we wrecked the blade, that's for sure.
Yeah, we wrecked the blade. All right, James, will you hold this for me?
Yep.
All right, you guys. I hope this video has helped you guys understand the key differences between brush mowers.
Alright, I don't know why I put that sequence here, because this is not the end of the video. It's actually just the beginning. Today, we're going to be looking at all of the different size brush mowers, from the tiniest ones all the way up to the biggest ones, to help you guys figure out which one is right for you. I mean, these things range all the way in price from down to $3,000 up to $15,000 or more, and they're not built the same. By the time you're done with this video, at least you'll have a good idea of which one to go out and grab if you're in the market for a brush mower.
So, Shane, you guys sell six different brush mowers, is that right?
Actually,
1, 2, 3, 4,
8.
5, 6.
for skid steers?
6 for skid steers and what?
7 for skid steers.
7 for skid steers.
And 1 for tractors, one model.
The 84 inches in here.
Okay, so 7 for skid steers and 1 for a tractor. That's kind of confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a large spectrum of use. So some people are using it for grass, some people are using it for brush, some people are using it for trees.
Okay.
And so if you can make a model that focuses more on just part of that spectrum, you'll have better performance overall.
Well, how is a guy supposed to know which unit to get when there's so much choice out there? I mean, we're talking about, these guys are going to be spending anywhere from $3,000 for the baby mower on the end up to $15,000, 5 times the amount for the big dog that you sell down here. And then there's other companies out there making them as well. So
Well, hopefully we're going to clear up that confusion today, because we are going to cover when you want a direct drive or a right drive motor, when you want 2, 3 or more blades spinning underneath, what a stump jumper is, what kind of stump jumper you want. And we're going to start with what we consider to be their flagship model, which is a model that has more features than most typical mowers out there, and kind of go down from there and go up from there as well. So let's do this thing.
This is kind of like your go-to model.
Yep.
Right
yep.
here.
Yep, we call this the brush buster.
Okay.
Most skid steers out on the market, they're either small to medium sized because they're the most economical. Most people aren't using them in contracting type, jobs. They're using them on the weekends and whatnot. So the most common skid steers are, let's say, medium sized.
Right.
And so our focus on the medium sized skid steers is right here.
Okay.
Especially the brush buster model.
But now there's direct drive motors. There is right drive mowers. Is it even called a right drive?
Yeah, we call them right angle drives.
Right angle drive.
Yep. So we got a couple examples here.
And you guys use both, right?
Yeah, right. So
Okay.
on our smaller mowers where we're trying to maintain a higher tip speed, we're using a right angle drive because we can use a 2-to-1 speed increaser inside of here. So
Okay.
that's big because it allows you to use a larger displacement hydraulic motor. And the reason we do that is because some of these skid steers, you have to be able to meet the flow requirements of the skid steer itself without overheating.
Okay.
And if you use a really small motor like you might have to on a direct drive, then it's like breathing through a straw. It's just pushing so much flow through that tiny little motor that things get hotter, they overwork, and they're gonna wear out quicker.
Okay, so here's the thing. If I'm understanding this right inside the industry, a lot of companies are trying to push direct drive only as if it's the new technology and it's a stronger version. But if I'm listening to you, it's not always the right choice. It's got to be the right choice for the right mower, right?
Correct, right.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a saying around here, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so you can use a direct drive and you can spin that disc slower, but you're going to have less energy because of the speed. Now, a lot of times they'll make up the difference by using a heavier blade carrier. So you can either have high speed with a lower mass, or you can have low speed with a higher mass and come out with similar types of energy.
Okay.
Or horsepower at the spindle, if you know what I mean.
But is there conditions that you would want one
Yes.
or the other?
Yes.
Okay, so what are they?
Most people are going to mow brush and grass in general. They might wish that they could mow a 10-inch tree.
Okay.
And these mowers, you can take down a 10-inch tree.
Well,
But
we have.
you don't want to do that all day. This is not the tool for tree cutting.
Okay.
This tool is made for brush, saplings, and grass. And most people, that's what they do. When they're clearing trails or mowing ditches or whatever, they're doing the small to medium-sized material.
Yep.
So we like to use a higher tip speed because it gives you a cleaner cut, and you can boost the energy because of the speed of that rotational mass. So we're using two blades that look similar to this. And it's important that you make blades that have an offset if you want to do good mulching.
Okay.
So we got this bolted to our blade carrier, and this offset keeps the blade down close to the ground.
So this offset is kind of a critical element to the success of the overall design, right?
And the other thing about using two blades is that your blades can be longer overall than if you have a large stump jumper diameter with shorter blades.
Wait a minute, stump jumper? What
So
does that mean?
The blade carrier or stump jumper, it's the part that the blades bolt to underneath, and we'll show it to you later.
Okay.
But the advantage there is that you can use a blade. This blade is like 16 pounds, and we have two of them, so you have that spinning mass as well.
Right.
But not only that, but the mass is farther away from the bolt, the rotational axis of the blade. So you get a lot more
the
leverage
momentum is
hitting
coming
that tree.
Okay.
So we got high tip speed out here, but we got a lot of mass behind it at the blade.
Can you help me understand the reason you guys have 7 different units for a skid steer is because it's not a one size fits all?
Correct.
Okay, so can we kind of walk down through all of these?
Yep.
And maybe you can help me understand the key differences between them. So if I was a consumer and I'm like, I got to spend a lot of money, where should I hone in at?
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
where should we start? Smaller?
Let's start at the small end down here.
Okay. So now, what would this unit fit on?
It would fit on what we call mini loaders, and so an example of this would be what we sell here, the Genesis machine.
Okay.
And they have flow rates maybe up to about 15 gallons a minute.
And then the flow rate is it has to be part of that whole combination, right?
Yep. Usually we say at least 10 gallons a minute. They'll operate at lower flow rates, but the performance is less.
So then you guys do a kind of a big jump up from this 42 to now these all look like they cut the same width.
Yeah, so what I did was I brought out all 72-inch mowers, but
Okay.
we actually sell these mowers in 4 different widths. So 60, 66, 72, and 78.
All of them?
No, just these 2 mowers right here.
Oh, just the two.
And then
okay.
our tractor mower, we also have 4 widths.
For width,
So again,
one more.
So
Okay.
again, you can use the width to help match to the horsepower of the machine.
Okay.
So you don't want to put a 78-inch mower on a really small skid steer because it's gonna, again, you're doing more work under that 78-inch circle.
It's just
so,
gonna bog.
Yep, it's got to be proportional.
It's just not gonna work.
Yep.
Okay, so
So from the outside, they tend to look the same, but they have different features which dramatically affect their performance. We're gonna cover that right now.
as I'm looking at it, if I look here, right there, where it attaches to the skid loader, and then I look over here, this unit will actually float separately from the machine. And so that means that this unit is going to contour to the ground
Right.
and give you an even cut.
Right.
So you're gonna see this feature actually in action right here. You can actually see the mower contouring to the ground separately from the skid steer.
One of the sales guys said, nobody mows a football field. You're out here in the woods, it's like this, right?
Yep.
And the skid steer is very rigid. That doesn't have a suspension, most of them. So they're also bouncing around. Well, you're missing stuff every time you go over a bump. And this allows the deck to stay in contact with the ground
Okay.
over uneven terrain.
Okay. Now that's the rigid frame, not the floating frame. And so we're going to go in the exact same spot. I want to show you guys the difference.
When you're brush cutting, one thing to keep in mind is the ground is never going to be even, and so you're going to get a different height from one side of the blade to the other side, but you're also, like right here, going to be binding up and beating those blades into the ground with the rigid frame mower. Just something to keep in mind.
We got 2 other features that are really important on this mower. One is the rear roller. So because this deck has to be in contact with the ground independent of the skid steer, we use a roller in the back. It serves 2 purposes. One is it is a rolling contact with the ground to stay in contact, and it also shields the operator from material that's flying backwards.
Oh, yeah, look at that. So you got chains here to do it,
Right.
but you're still going to have stuff flying through that.
Yep, this is going to help knock it down. This is going to be more like a barrier. The other big feature on this mower is it has a safety shutoff. So if the operator picks the mower off the ground, the mower will stop turning.
When do we want these bigger ones then?
Well, basically, as you go up the spectrum and you're mowing larger material, or if you have more horsepower,
Okay.
that's why we have the top end. So these are both direct drive, but we're start using larger and larger motors. So on the lower end of the spectrum, we're using Eaton
Is that the motor for that one, Shane?
for this one.
Okay.
That's the motor for that one.
This is the motor for this one,
Yep.
and that's
This is the motor for this one. Let me grab the other one.
okay. So you can definitely see the difference between this input. What motor did this come off from?
That's on the utility and the brush buster.
Oh. Okay.
So we only use Eaton motors on our rollers type mowers. So this is a 2000 series,
Okay.
4000 series, 6000 series. As you go up the spectrum, the motors can handle more horsepower, so they can handle higher pressures and higher flow rates.
Okay.
And you have to plan on what speed you want the thing to turn at and try to match the motor size to the flow rate. So
Where is the motor on your biggest one? Is that it right there?
yes.
Why aren't you lifting that, Shane?
I can't lift it.
Okay. So, wow, that is a definite size difference, isn't it?
Right. So not only is it larger, but it's a different style of motor. This is a radial piston motor. So it's got 5 pistons in here.
Yeah.
Working like a radial engine on an old World War II plane. It's kind of the same orientation.
Yeah.
So they have really high startup torque.
Yeah.
And piston motors are really efficient.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So they have a higher efficiency than roller type motors.
Then why don't you use them in all of them?
They're really expensive.
Okay.
So
So,
you have to be mindful of the cost. And there's a lot of mowers out there that are using cheaper motors from international sources, but these are American-made motors.
Use Chinese motors?
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
Okay, and these are Eaton's.
They're made in Oklahoma.
All right, Shane, let's go underneath and see what's going on here, if you don't mind.
Sure. So a couple of points that we want to bring up here. One, the first of all is the deck itself, the structure.
Yeah.
On our new brush buster, we've got a ring here that runs the full diameter underneath. And that's for a couple reasons, but the main reason is to stiffen the deck. It's another stiffening agent, but it also helps kind of keep the material from wanting to climb on top of the blades. It keeps it down. When you're talking about components that you want to last a long time, so when you hit something like a rock, you're not going to see these rocks, you're going to hit them.
Yeah.
These blades have a certain amount of flexibility to them, which are hard to show here, but they'll actually deflect and go over some obstacles and then come back straight. So the reason we want that is because you'd rather have the blade flex a little bit than snap off a shaft or bust something else upstream.
Is that not just the way everybody does it?
Well, when you use larger blade carriers, this part here, larger diameter, and you use shorter blades, the blades are a lot stiffer, and the blade carrier itself is a lot stiffer. So that's why you have to use bigger bearing carriers on these larger mowers, because all of the shock load's going into the shaft. On these smaller mowers, a lot of the shock load gets eaten up in the blades themselves. We use a blade carrier, and we sometimes call it a stump jumper or a dish pan, because it uses a spin-formed 1/4-inch thick plate of steel, and it's backed up with a 1-inch bar on the backside where the blades bolt. The reason for that is so that you have a ski toe effect when you come up to obstacles that will help ride the deck and everything right over the top of obstacles.
It'll go right over the top of it.
Right. Some mowers just use like a bar, or some of them use a blade carrier that might be a laser cut plate that's maybe triangle shape or whatever, but this again adds to the longevity of the components because you're less likely to see those big shock loads.
You were saying off camera that most brush mowers for a tractor are made like a tin can?
Yeah. A lot of people buy tractor mowers for mowing just grass, and that's fine. There's dozens and dozens of manufacturers of those. We wanted to be unique, and so we built a mower deck that's based on a heavy skid steer deck, and so you can go and mow trees down with it if you want by backing into them. The back side is open, and it's got a heavy construction, so you can really do pushing with it. You can mow grass with it too just fine, but you're going to have the added capacity to mow down trees.
So this mower realistically is meant to mow forward, so you drive through the grass. You're driving in the grass, it's mowing in the back, but if you came across a bush or a tree, you would then back into it.
Correct.
And it would snake it out.
Yep.
Okay, one of the other things that I need to bring up is there's companies out there that are claiming, like your mid-size brush mower over there, they're saying all day long they can mow 10-inch trees, and they're making kind of like these big claims and painting pictures in guys' heads that we've got to really clarify what that means.
Yeah, so it's easy to use a spec and try to sway the consumer. And so a common spec is the mass of the blade carrier and also the size of the tree.
Yeah.
But you have to be realistic with those claims. So any of these mowers, you can mow down a 10-inch tree if you wanted, but it's not always the right tool for the job. And 10-inch trees, if you're going to be doing that full time, or a lot of trees that size, you need to be using mulchers, not brush mowers.
Not brush mowers. So you can do it.
Sure.
You just realistically, it's not the right tool for the right job.
Correct.
Like, all right. So how big was this one?
About 13. The long ways is a little oblong.
All right, you guys. I hope this video has helped you guys understand the key differences between brush mowers. There's a lot of choices out there, and it gets to be very confusing. That's why Shane and I got together to hopefully clear up some of that confusion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are we gonna do next, Shane?
We're gonna tear up some stuff with grapples.
Sweet. So make sure you guys stick around. This video has been brought to you by Quick Attach. Without their help, I couldn't have done this. you guys wouldn't have this information. So I'm giving a big thank you to these guys. You guys go check them out. Where can they find you at?
Quickattach.com and 866-428-8224.
Exactly. God bless you guys. Go get them and check out these other 2 videos here. One of them is going to be the grapple video. See you next time. All right, guys. If you're wondering if Quick Attach actually makes their stuff heavy duty, I'm going to show you something here. You see this? This is the GoPro mount that Shane made for his GoPro. And here's the magnetic GoPro mount that you can buy on the market. If you wonder if Quick Attach makes their heavy duty, if they make it anything like their GoPro mounts, I'd say you're pretty safe.